sometimes on my healing journey, I get a bit of a leap into the future where I have an amazing amount of energy. I'm like Superwoman. I get a hell of a lot done in one day and I'm like powering through it. And every now and then I think, oh, I better sit down and have a rest. And I sort of sit down for a few minutes and then I'm like, oh, I've got to get that done. So I get up again and I get going and I'm aware of my my energy and the power to get through things. I'm not going unconscious in my doing, but I'm just amazed at the leap up in capabilities of my body and my mind, and I just power through things. First time, first time that really happened in an astounding way. I was generally running on about 3 or 4 cylinders, aiming for 6. And, I'd had a long journey from healing from chronic fatigue. I started to really get sick in the late 80s. And by 1992, I thought I was dying. I was like, my goodness, I've got to get out of the city and go and say goodbye to people and I'm dying. But I found a lot of amazing alternative healers. I was shown, I was given stepping stones by spirit to find the right people to help me heal. And it's been an amazing adventure. It's been an amazing journey of self-revelation. And I mean, I've always walked the path less. I've always walked the path less traveled. I've always been a seeker of truth. I've not been afraid to be on my own. I learned to enjoy my own company at an early age because I'd been experiencing a lot of bullying in early childhood and I wasn't accepted by the majority of the group of kids at school. So I just learned to be alone. And most of that bullying was racial. I was a very brown skin when I was a kid. I don't spend a lot of time out in the sun anymore. I go on my walks and I hang out in the garden every now and then. But compared to what I looked like when I was a kid, no wonder they thought I was an Aboriginal. And I didn't see skin as an issue, color of skin as an issue. I was looking at how people behaved. And it really shocked me that they wouldn't include me in their games and all that sort of stuff. But that's another story. Um, Got off track there a bit, but where I was really going with was like this long-term trauma really affected me to the point where I thought I was getting an early onset of arthritis. I was in a lot of pain. I was mentally really foggy and I couldn't function very well. So by the time I'd gone through 2.5 years of recession and losing jobs and getting more jobs and losing jobs again because the economy was in a bit of a downturn, I got to the stage where I was getting massive migraines every few days and having to drive home with one arm because the other one wasn't working very properly and one eye closed because the migraine and the light were just killing me. But luckily I only lived 5 minutes from my place of work by car and then get home and sort of labor up the 3 sets of staircases I had to get up to get to my flat. Couldn't wait to get in the door because all I wanted to do was get to the toilet and vomit. And this became quite frequent, and the secretary noticed it and said, like, what's going on with the migraines? And I said, I don't know. But I had a moment of revelation where I knew I wasn't getting well. I was getting sicker. So I left work and basically I thought I was gonna die. But anyway, I was praying a lot not religious, but, I've always felt like there's a universal or loving energy that we can reach out for. And I'd signed up with Jesus pretty early on, but, in fact, I've never called myself a Christian, but he's always supported me. Pray to him and yep, get my needs met really quickly. Um, but the thing that I want to talk about is the amazing healing process that um, chronic illness offers you if you're willing to go on a journey, and the amazing amount of alternative healers that we have in Australia, especially. Like, we are the biggest vitamin pill popping nation in the world. We are looking for a way to get healthy. We were also I think we're sort of on par with America as being the most overweight population in the world. And people are starting to wake up to the fact that there's a different way to live, that there's a different level of consciousness that they can reach to take charge of their lives in a different way, in a healthy way. I was talking to a friend of mine the other day on a walk, and he said, I've got a revelation. I've just had this huge revelation. And I'm like, oh, what is it? And he said, I've realized that you've got to look after your body. Your body doesn't look after you. And I thought, okay. I said, good, yeah, that's right. That's what I'm doing. I'm on my walk. I'm looking after my body. Um, So, for a long while, I think I had that same belief that my body was just going to take care of me. It was going to look after me. It was going to digest food without me chewing it properly. Um, I could sort of burn the candle at both ends and I'd be all right. Well, I wasn't. And I really had to wake up to myself about all of that sort of stuff. And now I've learnt so much about listening to my body and listening to my intuition and giving it space in my life so it can help me keep on healing. I don't think there's any stopping the healing process. I think there's always room for improvement. But at the moment, I'm in another upswing. Now, the story I was going to tell you was a few years ago, looking after my mother, caring for my mother. I was really sort of getting to the stage where it was bogging me down and feeling like, oh God, I can't do this for much longer. And I woke up one day and I'd have a long list of things to do that I just cross off over a period of time. And I had this amazing powerhouse day. And I just got one thing done after the other and had little rests and drank my water and sat down for lunch and got up again and kept going, didn't need a nana nap. And, I was just powering through it. By dinner time, I just said to Mum, wow, I've had an amazing day. I feel like I've been operating on 8 cylinders. I've never had an 8-cylinder day in my life. And she said to me, I know, I was watching you. I was waiting for you to kind of stop. And she said, you just kept going. You were getting all this stuff done. I couldn't believe it. And I said, it's an 8-cylinder day today. Wow. So the thing that I've experienced in my life is that every now and then, life lifts me up to a projection of my trajectory in the future. It gives me an experience of where I'm going to. It gives me a window into the future. And I have been going through a process of chipping away at the things that don't work for me, that are no longer useful in my life, and letting them go, just, little bit by little bit. And bringing my consciousness more into alignment with the guidance of my intuition on a daily basis, like listening, really stopping and going, okay, what am I doing now? What do I need now? What is it that sometimes I'm like a bit lost and I'm like, oh, what's next on my list? But what I've found is that when I stay in that zone of like, what now? What now? One foot after the other. Now it's time to sit down and have a drink of water. Okay, now you can get up and do the next thing. And I'm just listening all the time. And what I've found is I've been doing it for probably really quite solidly for the last 6 months. When I started a YouTube challenge with Chris Reck. And I got to a place where I was really doing my head in, just even getting the first short achieved. And I was really struggling and going down the plug hole, and I really had to push. And one day, and I'd written scripts, I had ideas, I was voice recording my ideas, and one day I'm like, oh my God, I'm so doing my head in. I feel sick, like I'm real. And Chris had said, just pick up your phone and get on the Instagram app and just do little takes of something. 30 seconds, 15 seconds, doesn't matter. And so that's what I did. And then I pushed the publish button and I got it out and I was so relieved. And then I got really sick. So the stress, I was walking around in this it's like I was hitting the ceiling with my stress levels. And I thought, I don't know. I've dreamt of doing videos and doing documentaries and making, entertaining people, making them laugh, being a fool, whatever. Giving them information. Really want to share the journey of the spiritual awakenings I've had and the knowledge that I've got now. I'm 65. It's time to share my encyclopedic brain with more people. But anyway, I'm out on a little walk today around the front of my headland and having a little think about things. And I thought I'll just sit down on the sand for a while and ground myself and just sit here. And then an idea popped in about the 8-cylinder day. Because what's happening now is that I'm solidly connecting with 6-cylinder days pretty regularly. I'm not dragging myself around anymore. I've got through a lot of the overwhelm that was hitting me with having my mum go into aged care. And she's been in there over 2.5 years now, and it's been a huge process. It's been a huge learning curve. I'm very much into caring for others, compassion, teamwork, giving mum perhaps the last days of her life a lot of love, a lot of compassion, a lot of kindness, and a lot of touch. And we have the most amazing visits together. I love visiting her. Most of the time she's in a pretty good place, but she is getting frailer. She's getting towards the gateway, and I'm having to step back emotionally. I'm having to give myself more time to me and gather up my strength and my personal internal resources for the next stage of our lives, which isn't easy. But I had another 8-cylinder day yesterday, and it was much more I don't know how to describe it. It's kind of like if you got a whole lot of pinholes in a cup and you you push them into a bowl of water. You push the cup into a bowl of water, and there's a tiny flow through these pinholes in the cup. Well, and that flow is the touching the 8 cylinders thing. And between the first 8 cylinder day I had and yesterday, I can honestly say that the holes have got a lot bigger and the flow is more easy and generous and maintainable, because I had that 8 cylinder day and then, that was it. It's like went back to like, say, 4 or 5 cylinders and realised that, okay, so the 8 cylinder day is in my future. The 8 cylinder day is what I can achieve if I focus on all of the things I'm doing and that to help assist myself to heal and let go of anything that no longer serves me for my highest purpose. And for people who have really solidly 100%, and I say 100% because that's about how I had to challenge myself, was years ago, a question came in when I was standing at the kitchen sink. How committed are you to your spiritual journey? I'm asking you. If you find within yourself an intuitive answer that comes out and it's not 100%, ask yourself why it's not 100%. When I had that question first pop in years ago and I was 39, how committed are you to your spiritual journey? And I think I got about, 92% or 82% or something like that. And it was just an intuitive thought of what it was, but, it felt right. And then Spirit said to me, why not 100%? Why not 100%? What have I got to lose making 100% commitment to the spiritual journey? So then I went, oh, gee, that's weird. I'm not 100% committed. What am I frightened of? So I went, all right, okay, I'm going to make 100% commitment. And pretty well, as soon as I made the 100% commitment to Spirit and the 100% commitment to my spiritual pathway, my life shifted in a dramatic way towards more change, more healing, more growth. And I don't regret it at all. It's been a bonus. It's an ever improving life. And I'm watching people my age, my generation, and I'm watching people accept illness as an aging process. I'm watching people suffering and talking about their pain, and I'm sitting there looking at them going, oh my God, they don't know. They don't know that you can get well. They don't know that there's alternative healing modalities that are tried and true and tested by many people that work. And they're running back and forth to the doctor and taking more pills and going on a downhill slide. Why? Like I was so desperate when I was ill. I was so desperate. I was praying for help. And I got it. Like it's not hard. It's just a moment by moment process. Listening to the guidance, reading the signs. They're all things that we have to learn. It doesn't happen in 5 minutes, and there is no magic pill. You have to do the work. And, looking back on my life from here at 65, I can say, oh my God, I had no idea it'd be this well. I had no idea that at 65 I'd be going, woohoo, this is fabulous. Bring it on. I want more life. I want more fun. I want more joy. It's great. I want more 8-cylinder days. Like, I'm ready for it. You know, I'm ready to have a life. And I can embody. I'm actually physically, mentally, and emotionally ready and open to embodying the energy for that life. Not carrying a lot of trauma anymore. I'm not doing poor me stories. I stepped out of victimhood a long time ago. And I call myself on it from ever doing victimhood. I call myself on it and I go, nah, excuse me, what are you doing, Release? That's not it. That's a poor me story. But you know, like, I don't want to do this journey alone. I want community. I'm really, really passionate about community and teamwork and going on a journey with the others, you know? And from an early age, I was looking for the others. Where are the others? I used to think, where are the others? Always looking for them. And I've met a few, and I've had mentors along the way. I've had beautiful angelic mentors and people who've been willing to call me on my stuff. And you have to make a commitment to sitting there with somebody's giving you some really hard feedback. And I used to wriggle around and like, oh my God, this is so painful to hear. But you know, people are only trying to help, and I'd asked for the help, and I had to sit through the hard stuff and look at it. Look at what was happening within. Look at my story. Look at the way I was behaving. It's sometimes it's really hard. It's just can be excruciating to hear the truth, to hear how other people observe you. I know for myself, I've had some very hard reality checks with people. People have really called me on it. But you know what? They're the people I appreciate most in my life. The people who have been willing to call me on my beat. You know, not everybody's brave enough. Not everybody's willing enough. It's a big journey. Take it easy. Bye for now. Oh, and what percentage of you is willing to go on the spiritual journey? Let me know in the comments down below. I'd really like to have the conversations with you. You're part of the community. Let's get to it. Let's support each other. Let's call each other on our. Okay? See you later. Bye for now.